everyone, welcome back to the channel Learning with Miss Hales. In today's video, we'll be looking at changing improper fractions to mixed numbers. Yes, I know we've done this before, but this is part 2. And if you haven't seen part 1, I will leave the link in the description so you can go and check it out. Let's get right into today's lesson.
Before now, we had a question where we wanted to find out how to change 7 halves into a mixed fraction. Alright, so just keep that in your mind. Now, if we were to label this, we're going to have a half there, another half, one half, another half, one more half, another half. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 halves. How many halves do we need? We need 7 halves, so we're going to have to go ahead and draw another half. So remember, we don't need a full circle, we need only a half to make 7 halves because we have 6 of them already. So now that we have drawn our additional half, we have 1, 2 halves, 3 halves, 4 halves, 5 halves, 6 halves, 7 halves. Now, I am going to shade my halves. So we have 1 half shaded right there. Right? 2 halves, I want to keep it neat and tidy. So half and a half gives us 1 whole. 1 half shaded right here. Keep it neat and tidy. Another half shaded right there. So it's half plus half gives us 1 whole again. So shading 1 half, 2 halves, put them together and we get 1 whole. Right here we're shading only 1 half because we have no more. So we are going to have to label this one as a half. Now we had 7 halves before, and that can also be considered to be 1 whole, 2 wholes, 3 wholes, and a half. Let me write this at the bottom here. 3 and a half. 3 wholes and a half. Guess what? We still have our 7 halves. 1 half, 2 halves, 3 halves, 4 halves, 5 halves, 6 halves, 7 halves, if you're counting with me. So we put the halves together, we change them to wholes. If we do it in terms of wholes, we're going to have 1 whole, 2 wholes, 3 wholes, and a half. Remember when we use the 7 beads, and I said that 1 bead and another bead makes 2 beads, but to get a half of 2, we have to only using 1. So 1 thing is a half of 2 things, or 2 things cut into 2 would give us 1 thing, and 1 out of that would be a half. Alright, so let us use the same diagram. If we put 1 bead on every half, then we'd realize that we have 7. Let us try that. 1 bead, 2 beads, that makes a whole. So we're talking about 7 divided by 2. 2 is a whole number. So we're saying how many times we can get 2, which is a whole number, from 7. So we have 2 right there, 1 time, which is 1 whole time, or 1 whole or 2. If we take away 1, 1 would represent a half of 2, and another 1 would represent a half of 2. Remember, if you put 2 things in half, or separate them into 2 groups, then in each group we'd have 1. So we have 4 beads there. So we have another set of 2, which would make a whole 2. We take 2 more, so we have 6 beads there. Gives us 1 whole of 2, another whole 2 again, and another whole 2 right there again. And this one is going to give us just 1 or a half of 2. So one bead, which is basically a half of 2. So one group of 2 there, one more group of 2, another group of 2, and a half of 2. Alright, so we're trying to make the connection. So we're counting, and we have gotten 3 groups, 3 groups of 2, and right there we only have a half of 2 because we don't have another 1 bead over there to make a complete 2, but we only have 1 bead, which is a half of 2. Alright, so we only have 1 out of 2. So the fraction that is left is a half. Whole, that is not complete, so we have to